peace, wellness, oneness, love and light. Let me get this situated right. Get in there. There you go. How you doing, guys? Everybody out there in social media world, social media land. Hope you can hear me well. Today is the 58th anniversary of since the assassination of Malcolm X. Hajj, Malik, Shabazz. Peace and blessings of the great essence be upon him. Whatever name designation you have for the creator source, or whatever elevation, level of consciousness, spirituality that you prescribe to. Okay. I was thinking about the legacy that was left after his passing all day today. And I've also mentioned that one of the most recommended books that I would tell a young person, a young black male in particular, to get is the autobiography of Malcolm X. The book is, compelling, as well as the audio tape. And I had one, I think I still have it, hopefully, please. I gotta look at my archives, with James L. Jones and narrated by Joe Morton. Okay, and voices of men, right, is very important for the upbringing, and just to hear it resonate, in your ears, the a strong voice of conviction and truth, one especially on the cause of liberation and pride for themselves and the people, is something that is precious, it's valuable, right? So looking into the life of Malcolm Little, aka Malcolm X, is a coming of age story, an American story. So don't get confused with people that use terms like woke ideology and what's the other little cute word? The cute word they use now. Oh yeah, critical race theory. Trash. You're an important figure in life, and when I say a coming of age story, you're talking about a person that, his father was a Garveyite, was kidnapped and killed by some racist white men, ran over by a railroad track. They said it was an accident, quote unquote, and said it was a mystery, and this tore his mother apart, who was fair skinned, as they would say back in the days, and she had to, take the weight and the pressure of 5 other children, which is interesting because you don't get to hear too much of the siblings of brother Malik, elder Malik, the ancestor. Be respectful and considerate in our honor, in our presentation of honor. And you're talking about somebody that lost his way, or was driven into a path where death would follow him, or a life of debauchery, crime, the criminal element, just to live another day in Lansing, and then going to Chicago and Detroit, pardon me, Detroit first, in Chicago, right? If the pressure is on, there's little to nothing being made, and you got to try to make something of yourself. So living the street life was the thing that he claimed to, the force that he was involved with to solidify his character. You know what I'm saying? And try to carve a way for himself. And it eventually led to his imprisonment. And the young man and many other pursuits would have been shut down from there, and that would have been the end of the story. But this is where, you know, unsung heroes like Ella, his great aunt, Wesley, the brother he met in the jail, I forgot the brother's name, and then eventually leading to hear the voice of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This is when that circuit comes into play, and you're still talking about a young man that was stripped of everything: emotion, social value, economics, spiritual value. There was one time that because he was so hard against the existence of what was a creator or God, that they call him Satan in jail. You know how much you had to display for a person to just bow down and call you straight up Satan. Plus, you know, the red hair didn't help. You know what I'm saying? And this is at a time where they would lynch people in a millisecond. He was educationally deprived and compromised, you know. But something awoke within him. Something of manhood, something of responsibility, something to say that I may have fallen, but I'm not dead yet. And he was risen by the pursuits of that circle I just talked about, and a passion for words. See, education, when denied, can make somebody be a loud fool. You know, they may have all the words together. They may have had a decent amount of basic information to build an argument and try to function in society. But a more structured education and a love for finding out more to it, being investigative and curious, you know, expanding your vocabulary, you know, specializing in a field. That's where you start to build a pride at. And I don't care what language you speak. In any language, culture that you are put in and positioned in, your goal is to try to get the best of that experience as possible in order to communicate your position, also expand your interests, so you're not only able to educate yourself, you educate others, you can communicate effectively, and you can have a decent livelihood. But he even went to the next level of being a grand orator, somebody that is able to convey and express progressive ideas, strong ideas and conviction, strong truths, so everybody can feel it. And this is how you became an international figure. First, known across the nation. And you have to respect a man's mind who's willing to educate himself. That's why I say it's important, and it's a great coming of age book. Now, the movie is great too. You know, played by Denzel Washington, shot by Spike Lee, beautifully crafted. I think it should have won a dozen awards and so, but you know how the game goes. Especially when it comes to a heroic figure that stood strong, a heroic black figure. Let me get that right. A person of color who stood strong, and its character became more than life. It became a message in itself. You know, and Denzel Washington was able to convey that in an expert, masterful level. Masterful. So when you think about the brother El Hajj and learning all the words in the dictionary, and then not just learning the words, but learning and understanding the meaning and the positioning of certain words and how they fit into society and how they relate to him and his stock and what can be transformed with those words. He was eloquently lifted. He gave his service. Listen, he gave his service to the Nation of Islam, which at the time was a movement of self-reliance and liberation. This is without all the madness that we hear nowadays, without all the chaos and confusion that's planted in. Because remember, there's a House of Un-American Activities that was around at that time. You had the Federal Bureau of Investigations led by J. Edgar Hoover at that time. You know, you still had a little sprinkle of McCarthyism with the Nuremberg Conference and people that's like looking to see about the un-American activities, and then the emergence of COINTELPRO. What do these things have? They were able to give resources to people that were willing and ignorant enough to betray the groups, sabotage leaders, plant evidence. We know this after the fact now. But while the time was going on, these movements were being made. And then I want you to understand the heaviness of knowing that's up to play, but I'm here to educate. I'm here to set the record straight. So he knows he's in the midst of his people. He'll go to the blocks of Harlem, the Mecca of Black history and Black experience and the movement all across the world, because Pan-Africanism was the key of the day. And people don't think there was a link between America and Africa. There's always been a good link between America and Africa. You have fell, when I say you, I mean those out there with those secret agendas and them weird podcasts and things of that nature, trying to separate the entities, separate the nation of people intercontinentally. You're the ones that have been cogs in the machine of chaos. Not thinking about a Kwame Nkrumah, a Stephen Biko, a Patrice Lumumba. Not knowing the bridges, Jomo Kenyatta. You don't mention these names. You don't understand the bridges that were being built. Our lifelong friends, John Henry Clark and Kwame Nkrumah, Adam Clayton Powell, the international movements. His voice rang because it spoke from the depths of manhood outward. Malcolm X. Then he met a fine, chocolate, beautiful Black sister. A nurse at a time where Black nurses weren't respected, but highly revered. Think about that. And she's in the nation, and she's a devout follower. Knowing the GCT, General Civilization class, and the MGT, Muslim Girl Training. How to be a refined woman, a queen, knowing civilization. Just an all-right, phenomenal woman in Betty Shabazz. He attached with her and bore beautiful daughters to the world. Beautiful daughters. Strong minds. In that, as he rose in recognition, because the media at that time was picking up steam, and the media loves somewhere they can, use their words and use their force for reverence, to understand, definitely, and connect, but also to pick apart words. And he's one of the most vocal ones out there. He's pushing the line. He's giving these great speeches and great clarifications of the Elijah Muhammad's message, which Message of the Black Man to me is one of those top books as well. Message to the Black Man, which is organized in your path of knowledge of self and seeking higher consciousness, if you didn't have a love or a flair for words before, or how, you know, certain information is set up, that'll start you off pretty good. Message to the black man, to bring your whatever is negative in your life into a positive realm, knowing that there's greater goals to accomplish, and he was able to convey that and clarify that, and this what brought millions and millions to hear what the Nation of Islam was saying and doing. Millions to the movement. That cannot be taken away at all from anyone. The transformation from not having that education to education making them one of the top feared people in the nation is a large jump, and it's really disheartening to see that we're basically at the end of what we call Black History Month. I always say World African Celebration Season. If you ever look further down in my Instagram timeline or my Facebook, if you're part of my Sun Seeds page, I would. That's the first thing I did. 2016 World African Celebration Season. But then you have people that want to pick themselves apart of what Africa means and why we chose. Yes, it's a choice. It's a geopolitical choice for social economics and world development. But a lot of people I see don't get that. It flies over their head, or they choose to be ignorant, or they just choose to be one of those shocking people to say these weird lines and pose these weird stances just to be cute for $1. While everything that Brother X, Elder X, Hajj Malik El-Shabazz was talking about was about nation building and the Pan-African movement. A global movement, to tell you the truth. Anybody that was being oppressed, rally behind this. And this is what makes his next level of manhood that much greater. Because he was able to see the American problem, and then he was able to see the American problem in the world. Then he was able to see the larger African problem in America, then the African problem in the world. Then it all summed up to him. This is a world problem, not of civil rights, but of human rights. Listen to the speeches properly. Take them in. Write them down if you have to. Its draft was straight from the Declaration of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, December 10th, 1948, General Assembly, 35th General Assembly, the 15th article, the right to a nationality. But more important than that, he always directed people to that Declaration of Human Rights. So naturally, if your human rights are being protected and enforced, your civil rights will be protected and enforced. And if not, just like Patrick Henry said, give me liberty or give me death, give me the ballot or the bullet. Which one are you going to pick? Empowerment for everyone. And this is when it stopped being about color. It stopped being about color. And that's where the fear set in. And the motions were made to take this young man out. And now you have 5 daughters, a beautiful wife. You're well known. Your best friends are Muhammad Ali. You're good friends with Adam Clayton Powell. You're about to close in. Oh, Sam Cooke, don't forget Sam Cooke. They're about to close in and gain more encounters, hopefully with Dr. Martin Luther King at that time, who was a young, up-and-coming, powerful, revolutionary speaker. The consciousness, or the contents of America, the moral conscience, the moral fiber of America. And the eyes are on these figures. Of course, you're going to plant something in between. Not to say that some people are guilty. I don't know about all the situations. But Elijah Muhammad was getting phased out. Malcolm X, as El Hajj Malik, he was silenced at first, and he rose in his own entity, had to take a pilgrimage, see what the world is about. But you know what? Some of these things have to happen. How do you know that Elijah didn't send them on that path? Some of these things have to happen so you can see the bigger picture and then connect in a larger way. Now the network grows. The network grows. And I think El Hajj, seeing that, kind of knew that that was the fate. Nowadays we talk about how the rapper Tupac knew all about his demise would come, and things of that nature, and he's following suit because they both know that the life of a revolutionary is it's not long. It's not long, and him seeing that, and still his wife is with him step by step all the way. Where's the fiber? Where's the magnetic? Where's that type of energy in the relationships that we have now? That type of Coretta Scott with Dr. Martin Luther King. Medgar Evers and his wife. So forth and so on. With even bomb threats and even a bombing, they stayed together, stayed solid. So when you speak on Malcolm X's name, and it's not just who was assassinated, it was what was assassinated. And there's a voice, and I like when Ozzy Davis said this, rest his soul as well. Ozzy Davis said this in the speech, the voice of black manhood, that's Malcolm X. The voice of black manhood. Coming up from nothing, literally no value, and rose to prominence in a world voice, in a world movement that everybody can get with. Even the enemies, the assigned enemies, had to respect. So I'll put this video up right now as a tribute. I'm going to dazzle it up with pictures and all the quotes and stuff like that a little later. But this is the raw footage right now. I wanted to give it to you right from the heart. Like I said, required reading for any black man, especially in the inner city or anywhere, any man, any young man, period. Even the young woman, no gates, no boundaries. Check into the autobiography of Malcolm X, coming of age story. And you'll be surprised what can be pulled out of you and your experience after you read it. I bet everybody that sees this with peace, wellness, and a oneness, because we're all on this planet together. Now we not all got to get together on the planet. All right? Salute.